First and foremost, because I want to see what Mocha Mommy has to say. And secondly, because our audiences overlap. So I don't want y'all to have to choose. Oh my goodness, it's been a long day. So much to say, but I figured I'd give this update um sooner rather than later because I'm still kind of fresh off of my trip. So I want to give you the rundown on it. So I took a trip recently and I was gone for about 5 days. And I had 5 dates. I had a date for every day. I had good dates, nice dates. Hey, hey, Cozy, Afrocentric woman. I've been binge watching your videos for the past few days. I'm so glad to catch your live. I'm so glad you're here, Cozy. Welcome, my dear. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you for watching my videos. I was looking, and I know like people have like quadrillions of views and stuff, but for me, being a modestly sized YouTube channel, I saw that I had like 33,000 views, and I was like, 33,000 people have heard my voice. Well, I guess not technically 33,000 people, but you know what I'm saying. I'm like, that's like a stadium full of people or more. That's a lot of people listening. So it's kind of surreal, and I'm really grateful. Okay, so let's get into this trip. So, all right, this is what I did maybe about I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, 2 to 2.5 weeks before my trip. I set my dating app to travel mode. I set my dating app to the primary dating app that I use. I set that to travel mode and I started having conversations with guys in the city that I was going. I gave you ladies a rundown on my roster. If you refer to my last roster update, some of the guys, hold on, y'all, hold on. Okay. All right. Am I unmuted? All right, I'm back. Okay. So, what was I saying about the roster? About my travel mode. Okay, so I started having conversations. Now, the video that I sent you that I was talking about my roster and different conversations that I was having, some of the guys included in that were, I want to say some of those guys were out of town. I had high hopes for the portfolio manager, the tech exec, and the attorney. I had high hopes for them, but they never booked a date. I sent, and it was getting like close to the time that I was leaving, and none of them booked a date with me. None of them. Like the guys who I thought were my top three didn't book a date with me. So, um, I had a friend. She is a new level up friend who I absolutely adore. She's so super sweet. I ended up meeting her, um, out there. But before then, she and I were kind of talking, and she had mentioned some restaurants to me because my family member didn't give me any restaurant options. So I sent those to each guy, like, hey, my friend recommended that we check this place out or that place out, and no response. So I had to block them. Well, I didn't block them, I just unmatched them. I didn't want to give up on the tech exec because I thought he was just a bit eccentric. So I really kind of wanted to give him more of a chance than the attorney or the portfolio manager because I felt like either one of them, they're not that eccentric. They're just not interested in taking me on a proper date. So I unmatched all three of them. Of course, all three of them had already sent me their phone numbers, but I don't talk on the phone before a date because I like to build up anticipation, and also I would prefer that they ask for my number in person. So I didn't call them. After I later, um, I don't remember what I said. I say, this is me or something, like, hey, this is me. And then he texts me back like, oh, I saw that you unmatched me. I couldn't log into the app. That tool was taking me so long. I needed to upgrade, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, okay, well, you didn't see my last message? And he said, no, I didn't. And I said, oh, well, I just sent you a restaurant recommendation. My friend thought that we should check out. And keep in mind, he started with a coffee date offer on the app. And of course, if you ladies don't know me by now, hi, nice to meet you. I am the Afrocentric woman, and I do not go on coffee dates, okay? I don't go on coffee dates. I don't go to free museums. I don't go for ice cream, okay? So nice to meet you. So when he offered coffee, I got him the voice call via the app, and we talked, and he said, well, we should do dinner. And I said, oh, that sounds lovely. I would love to do that. And he's like, yeah, we just have to find a day and I'd love to take you to dinner. And I said, I would love that. Thank you. And so we chit chatted, and he is when I tell you this man is a motor mouth, I could barely get a word in edgewise, but it's fine. Most men are totally self-absorbed and all they do is talk about themselves. They talk about their accomplishments. They talk about their gadgets, their toys, what they're doing. And whatever, it's fine. I don't care. And so that's kind of how it went. And so that was that. But he never booked a date, never booked a time, never inquired with me about transportation. Like, well, did you rent a car? Do you need an Uber? Shall I pick you up? Nothing upon nothing upon nothing. So when I when I text him, hey, this is me, and he's like, oh, blah, 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 the app, this and that. And I said, well, I sent you a restaurant recommendation. My friend said this would be, a good for us to check out. And he was like, well, I really think that we need to go on coffee first. And then if all goes well, we can do dinner another day. So essentially what he was proposing is that towards the beginning of my trip, I would meet him for coffee or for a drink. And if I'm a good little girl, then later on he would take me for dinner. But keep in mind, I already get offered the best steakhouses and the best restaurants in the city on the first date. So why shall I go to coffee with you? What's in it for me? It doesn't make sense, right? Like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm having a glass of rosé, y'all. But yeah, like I'm not doing that. Like I don't do that. So we're not compatible. And then he sends me like this long paragraph about people have the best intentions, but you just never know. Online dating, yada yada. It's like, where are the violins? Like, where are the violins? Yada yada yada, blah blah blah. And then I respond to him and I said, oh, I just don't think coffee would give us enough time. So that was his cue to be like, you know what, you're right. Let's just go ahead and do dinner or lunch or brunch. He just doubled down on the coffee. So I just stopped responding. I didn't block him, but I just stopped cold turkey responding. So, I started sifting through all the guys. One guy made reservations. Well, I kind of had two dates on the first date. One guy wanted me to meet him in this like famous square area, and he didn't pick a restaurant, and I kept leading him to what I want him to do without directly telling him, well, just meet me here. And I'm like, well, it's going to be raining. Should we meet outside? Would it be easier if you made us reservation somewhere? Well, we'll just go walk. We'll just figure something out. There's lots of things to do. I tell him, yeah, there's definitely he's from Eastern Europe. I'm like, I think he was from like some country I can barely pronounce, Bulgaria, Estonia, I don't know, somewhere in Eastern Europe. I'm like, well, don't you think that it would be easier if we could um go together and meet like in the restaurant. We'll figure it out. Just meet me there around this time, yada, yada, boo, boo, boo. And I'm like, okay, I'm thinking you're plan D because that doesn't sound appealing to me. Then this other guy from India, he's like half Indian, half Turkish, I think, which is an interesting combination. But he emailed me. I mean, he was contacting me and he had made reservations at a tapas restaurant, a really nice one. And I was like, perfect. To me, I'm going to go for the guy who puts in the work, I'm gonna go for the guy who gives me a better effort going out with the other guy. It was fine for the most part. We sat outside. It was nice. We had good, okay service. The food was good. The conversation was okay. Um, we ate our food, da 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 da, and then wine, and I was like, "Oh, no, thank you. It's getting late. I'm gonna get some rest, or we can go out to another bar." And I was like, "Oh, it's okay. It's getting late." And I could tell he was really disappointed about that. And so I think that that pretty much was the whole thing. He really just wanted to go out and then get somebody to go back to his place with him. He's basically just looking for a hookup. And so, no real conversation after that. He contacted me like the last day of my trip or second to the last day of my trip. I had every intentions of responding to him. It's just I was busy with family and I was busy on like another date with another guy and I just didn't have time, but I had every intention of responding. But before I could respond, he unmatched me. But it's okay, like, you know, I understand because he's looking for a hookup and I'm not offering a hookup. So again, we are not compatible. All right, the next day, blah blah blah. I, I spend time with family, we do things, and then I go out with this guy. I really didn't know his ethnicity. I try not to ask people's ethnicities, rather them disclose to me what their ethnicity is. I don't get a big deal. You understand? So I thought he might have been like percent sure what he was. But we went to dinner and it was nice. We had a great bottle of wine and good food, and the conversation was okay. Kind of intense, and I think I know why, and I'll tell you later. But kind of just intense. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but just that like locking eyes and like not like le- you know just an intense gaze. That narky look. It's hard to explain unless you've like had that happen to you. Um, but yeah, nonetheless, it was fine. He was more or less a gentleman, and he took me back to my location. And the next day, I went out with an Indian guy. I knew for sure he was Indian. Um, I knew that for sure. His name is very Indian. So we went out. Okay, so our original place closed early. And there was a lot of college kids and they were really rowdy and I didn't want to go. I didn't want to be around those kids anyway because they were way too rowdy. And so that our original rooftop, we weren't going to be able to make it. Then we got in a line for this other club slash bar, but it just looked trashy, like white trashy. And I was like, oh no, too rowdy. We ended up going into this other bar. It was a snooze fest, and I just didn't like the environment. It didn't match. The environment didn't match my outfit. Y'all, when I tell you I had a cute fitted dress on with the little like keyhole cut at the top on the collarbone, fitted heels. I was not about to sit in that ratchet ass location. So I got on Dr. Google and I started Googling things that I want to do. And I was like, upscale lounge, straight up. I'm not staying in this ratty ass place. So I Google upscale lounge and I find one and I was like, hey, babes, what do you think about this place? And he was like, oh, that's fine. I know where that is. Let's go. Per- Perfect. So we go. Now, I already knew that he drove a Maserati from like his press by money that is inside of my own hands, inside of my bag, inside of my bank account. Once the money transfers to me, then I'm impressed. I'm not impressed by your penthouse. I'm not impressed by your car. I'm not impressed by your watch. I'm not impressed by your designer labels. I really don't care. Okay. That we weren't really sure if there was valet because a lot of the valets in this particular city have been closed because of COVID. And you've kind of like fend for yourself to park your own car and things like that. But this place did have the valet, but he just wasn't at the stand when we pulled up. But once he saw his car, he already knew like, oh, that guy drives a Maserati. He probably wants valet. So he kind of flags us down in the midst of him parking another car. He was like, it's fine. Just leave your car right there. I'm gonna park this car. I'll come back. I'll get your car and I'll take care of you. So we get out of the car and he hands the key to the valet and or whatever Maseratis have, the fob or I don't know. Anyway, so we were standing. Tell you was absolutely beautiful. And my family member used to told me that it used to be popping like all the athletes. And like all the top athletes of this particular city used to always go there. It's like the who's place to be seen. But with the things easing up from the pandemic, more things are open. So there's less of a concentration of that. But so we're in the line and we're waiting. Um, is that all the nice cars, they always park those cars in the front of a nice place because they want to attract more money, right? So when people are like cruising by, they're like, "Oh, should I go in?" And they're like, "Oh, there's people with Lamborghinis in there. I want to go inside of that club." So the valet parks his car right in the front of the lounge. And once he comes back, he's like, "Are y'all waiting in line?" And we're yeah, like because of COVID, and we jumped the line. And I was like, listen, I'm not impressed by your Maserati, but if it's going to get us into this lounge and I don't have to stand out here in my heels, perfect, let's do it. So we go into the lounge and we get some drinks and we find a place to, and it's like really socially distanced. So that was nice, and it's just beautiful. Like, it's like all these floors, like 4 floors of seating, and you basically can look out onto this, like the lower floor, and they had a DJ. So it was really nice. It was a super cool vibe, and I'm so glad that I have standards, because since I have standards, there's no way I was gonna stay at the ratty ass bar, right? Because I'm just not willing to do it. I have standards. I know where I want to be. I know what I like to do. I know what is fun for me. And I know that I'm not going to be somewhere that I don't mean to be. All right. So we enjoy that. We're having a conversation. He's totally self absorbed as usual, per usual. Um, Complaining about his ex. And even though I'm trying to divert his attention away from that. Now, this is the big red flag. He tells me he wants an independent woman. And I'm like, okay, should I just get my bag and go? Should I Uber home? Because I am the opposite of an independent woman, okay? I'm a dependent woman. Okay? I'm dependent on you for all my provisions, okay? Your money is my money and my money is my money. So I already know. When a guy tells you he's looking for an independent woman, he's trying to set you up to not ask him for anything. He's going to want everything from you, but he doesn't want you to ask him for anything. He's already laying the ground floor. He's laying the rules of already setting the precedent of don't ask me for anything. So I already pretty much knew, like, all right, this is probably going to be our last date because I'm not independent. He's like, and I'm like, well, and the interesting thing, I was like, well, what all do you need from a woman? Well, I'm trying to climb because he's in like biopharma, like biotech. Oh, he works for a biotech company. And he's like, well, I have a team that I'm managing and I'm raising up and I want to get to executive level and I need a woman to, support me and motivate me. And I want, to talk at the end of the day about my day, and I need this and I need that. And I'm like, wow, it sounds like you need a lot of support. That's what I tell him. Oh, it sounds like you need a lot of support. That's a lot. The woman, you're the woman that you're going to get with is going to need to provide, for you. He's like, oh, well, yeah, but we can support each other. We can support each other. It's interesting because it's like you've not talked about anything that you're going to do for her. It's only her serving you. And he's like, I can be emotionally available. And I'm like, whatever. You learned that word in couples therapy of your failed relationship because your ex-wife or whatever was probably complaining that you're not emotionally available because I've met you for the past 30 minutes and I can tell that you are completely emotionally unavailable. And I don't need 30 years. I don't need 30 hours. I don't need 30 days with you. The 30 minutes that we have spent together, I can completely tell you are completely self absorbed and not emotionally available at all. At all. Okay. So, no woman is going to put up with you being stingy and emotionally unavailable. Like, that just doesn't exist in the world. Okay. So, anyway, let's just change the subject because I'm thinking in my head, the likelihood of us going out again is really low. So it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. So we enjoy ourselves and then we leave the lounge because the lounge closed at like 1 and the club closed at 2 and we were still having a good time. So we left the lounge and we ended up going over to the club to have another drink and to hang out outside. And we chit chatted a bit more. And then he took me home and he wanted to like for me to keep talking to him. He was like just desperate for affection, like and attention. And I can give it, but not for free. You understand? You want my attention and affection, but I would never give it to you off the strength of because your name is Sam. I'm never going to do that. I don't care. Like, if you want me to invest my feminine energy into you, you need to invest into me so that I have the energy to give to you. Because otherwise, I will get depleted and I cannot allow myself to become depleted for any man. I don't have different standards for different men. And this, all men I treat the same, all of them. Like until you pay enough to get into another category, you will get treated the same. So everybody has the same requirements of investment of resources. And that's point. He's like, please stay. I want to talk a little bit longer. I'm like, sir, I'm not about to sit up here and chit chat with you for an hour. It's not going to happen. Like, have a good night. Bye. Like, and you're stingy. And you talking about you want an independent woman? Obviously, you don't want an independent woman. You want a feminine woman to sit up and listen to you and stroke your ego and tell you that you're doing a great job and that you're the big man on campus and da 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 da. And I see you go, you want all that. I have it, but it's not free. Okay. So that's what you got to understand. It's not free. So, blah, blah, blah. We leave. I leave rather, even though he's like, don't go, don't go. I want to talk longer. Please stay, please stay. Have a good night. Bye. Jump out the car. Skirt. I'm out of there. All right. So the next day, I go out with the guy that I went out with on like the day before that. So the day before that, I go out with that same guy again. We go to this rooftop bar. It's nice. I enjoy it. And then we go to this restaurant that they have downstairs, and I enjoy it. It's great. It's fun. And we just have a good time. The service is great. Um, we just have a good time chit chatting and whatnot. He takes me back to my location, and I'm like, well, possibly I could see you before I leave. That's a possibility. He's like, yeah, it's possible, no stress. We can do dinner. And I'm like, well, no, not dinner, but like after dinner, we could meet for dessert or something. And so we kind of play it by ear and then we firm up on a time. And he picks me up by this point. Because the last time, oh no, he picked me up like the last time too. He picked me up, he dropped me off, and he picked me up. We go out to a local bar that I picked out, and we have some drinks, and then he drops me off. So that was that, and it was great. Um, that was my trip. ah, hey B Aura and hey Roa or ROA. You have to tell me which one you prefer. So that was my trip. Now I'm having conversations with men who I didn't get a chance to see. One of which is a guy who supposedly does commercial real estate and does like boat transpo, but it seemed like he was the one doing the transportation of the boats. So I'm like, what's going on? Like, you know, what's going on? Like, is this even your company? I don't know. I'm not really convinced that he is as established as he's leading on. But nonetheless, we've had some conversations. There's another guy who I met who's a tech exec. Do y'all know what this man did? I talked to him yesterday because he sent me his number. He wanted me to do the same thing that the Eastern European guy. He wanted me to just meet him downtown randomly. I don't do that. And so I never responded to him. He just sent me his, oh, well, let's meet downtown, da 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 da. And I didn't block him or I didn't unmatch him. I just didn't respond because I really didn't have anything to respond to because you're not offering a legitimate date. So chit chatted with him and we found a time to talk on the app. And he's like, "Oh wow, you ghosted me or you stood me up or what happened? We were supposed to meet up." And I said, "Well, I would have loved to go out with you, but hold on, y'all." Okay, I'm back. So, okay, where was I with this tech? This is another tech exec guy. Not the one that I told y'all that I became unresponsive with. This is a totally different guy who sent me his number and I didn't meet up with him because he did not offer me a proper date. And I don't meet up with guys. I don't run into guys. I don't hook up with guys. I don't hang out with guys. I get asked out on dates and I say yes and I get treated to dates. So, I'll try to come back to that point at the end of my little update. because I want to reiterate this for you ladies for who are dating, as a means to avoiding dust. Okay. So, you know what this man did to me? He talked to me in a black scent, and it was really gross. He's white. And he said something about your New York brother. And I was like, what? I was like, what? And he like cut that shit out. I'm like, don't talk to me in a black scent. Don't do that. It's gross. And don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not interested in a black scent. Please, if you need to use a black scent, just unmatch me because I don't want that. So, anyway, he's pretty self-absorbed and he was trying to get me to talk about my career. And I'm like, I don't like talking about my career with men. Never need one pleasure. I really don't want to talk career because I really want to separate myself from work talk, right? This is all about creating fantasy and an escape from that. And it's an escape for me also. I don't want to be bogged down in that. And so I just didn't want, he kept like asking me questions about it. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about that. And so I was able to successfully steer him away. So he has his company that he's working with. So now all of this is, until I can verify, this is all hearsay. But supposedly the company that he's working with is like it's like a tech company. They have an office inside of a prestigious technical institute, if you could think along the lines of a Carnegie Mellon or a Georgia Tech, right? In a school like that. They have a hub of like a learning, basically like a learning lab for tech engineers. They have a company in Silicon Valley, in LA, and in Austin. So he's like, well, I'm always traveling. So when I'm on the way to one of these cities, maybe I could see you and we could have a date. And I'm like, just to say feminine woman, this or that. So, so yeah, that was a red flag for me. Um, Whatever, he's not blocked. And in fact, since he'll be traveling, I don't usually give out my number over the app. I rather give it in person, but I went ahead and gave him my number in hopes that, like, well, if you come in town, we could have a proper date and we can go from there. Um, we can just see what's up. But his response to my sending his number was to text me his number on the app. And so I don't know what he's thinking. If he's thinking that I'm going to be the one to call him or initiate contact, he is wrong. I will not do that. And I've given you my number. So probably within the next week, if he hasn't texted me or called, I will likely just unmatch him and move on. Because if you're that passive and lame and, resting and don't take initiative, then there's nothing that I can do with you. Nothing. Inbox who said he might want to come out here or I can go back out there. Um, there's another doctor out there. He's actually from the Caribbean, so he doesn't seem to be too like he doesn't seem to have the typical struggle bandit mentality. So who knows with him? I mean, so long as he's making the initiative, I'll definitely keep the conversation going. The Who else is on the list that's like a straggler that I couldn't meet with when I was there? I know there's two doctors. One's white, one's Trinidadian. Um, yeah, it kind of escapes me. Oh, I think there might some tech guys. And then some guys, a lot of guys got, unmatched basically. Some guys were looking for hookups and whatnot. So you have to really be very committed to like trusting your intuition and making quick decisions because you don't want to end up wasting your time. Now, let me just kind of wrap all this up and kind of give you a little bit of advice as to why do I, because like when I talk to ladies and y'all are not going out on dates, I'm trying to understand what is the problem. Why are you not going on amazing dates? What is the issue? And I think that the issue that you ladies are having is that you have not honed your screening process. You have not honed your conversation just yet. You're doing too much small talk. You're giving these guys too much access to you before a date. So what is the point of even asking you on a date if you're going to sit up and have an hour-long conversation with them or chat with them for a week or two? Blabbering on about nonsense, what you ate for breakfast, what you're doing on the weekend, and shit like that. What is the point of taking you on a date? Where's the mystery? So I think that for the ladies who want to date, who are not going on the dates that they prefer, some things to think about would be how can you create mystery and entice men to want to take you on a date to get to know you more. And let me tell you this, you need to learn how to be alluring and enticing with your voice. Now, right now, I sound talk on the voice. Okay, seriously, hold on. Let me get my water. On the voice call as soon as you can. Do not sit up and chat with them about stuff that doesn't have anything to do with a date. Everything that you say needs to be related to a date. Not that you're asking for a date, but you need to be alluding to a date. So asking him questions like, what do you like to do for fun? What are some of the cuisines that you like in your restaurant? What are some of the bands that you like? Do they ever play live? Um, those kinds of questions. What's your ideal first date? Those are the types of things that you need to ask. Those are oh, really? No. Somebody might have been trying to call me. Let me see. Um, is the sound back? Let me know. Let me text it. Post a comment. Is the sound back? Question mark. Um, Let me know if the sound is back, because I don't want to keep talking and it's not. I'm thinking that somebody called me and that was the problem. Why the You're back but cutting in and out. I'm so sorry. I need to upgrade my internet. Please forgive me. Um, okay, let me see if I can sit up. Maybe that will be better. Okay. Let's see. Hopefully we'll try to make this do what it do. Okay, so um okay, so that's how you're going to get asked out on dates. Some of you ladies are still dealing with guys who are way too young and they're not mature enough to take you out on a proper date. So I typically deal with guys in their late 40s to early 60s. So they are more experienced with dealing with women. They have more money um and they just know they're more mature. So part of the reason why some of you ladies are not getting asked out on proper dates is because you're targeting the wrong demographic of males, of men. You're targeting guys close to your own age and they're trying to get whatever they can get for as cheap as possible. Now, that isn't to say that older men don't do that too, because all guys want a bargain. They all want to get as much as they can get with spending as little as possible. But you want to try to find a man who's older, who's more mature, who's more refined, who genuinely into a nice steakhouse. Do you see how that doesn't make sense? It doesn't make sense. Why would he do that? Why would he go out of his own comfort zone? You know what I'm saying? Like if he goes to Chili's and Papados and all those types of places, and you're talking about a steakhouse or something that he don't normally do, he never been there, and then he wants to take you to the chicken wing bar or he ghosts you or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how you can get caught up because you're trying to apply these tactics onto the wrong target. And that's why you're not possibly getting where you want to go. You have to find somebody that's refined, that's generous, that's older, that's mature, that has a stable career or a thriving business. And that's going to be the right target. Because one lady asked me on the last live, she was like, how do you not get stood up or ghosted? I was like, girl, who's ghosting you? What do you mean stood up? You mean you went to the venue and the person didn't show up? What? Um, that happened to me once. Uh, you know, he in part of the I think that's like a manosphere tactic that they do. So they will invite women to a restaurant and then not show up, and they make up some reason why they didn't go to upset the woman, and then basically in hopes that she will appreciate the next date better. I know it makes no sense, but most of the things in the manosphere don't make any sense by keeping women on pick Misha. You know, doesn't work on refined feminine women. Like, and that's why I've been totally immune to dust. I'm totally immune to the manosphere. It doesn't ever affect me because um, I just don't even interact with those kinds of guys. So how would it ever affect me, right? So that guy who stood me up back in 2019, he was like, "Oh, I got caught up at work. Let me just take you out again." And I was like, "No, you can send me a cash app for my gas and my food." And he was like, "Oh no, put the people on the phone. I'll pay over the phone." I was like, "I'm not doing that. It's embarrassing. Send me a cash app, run me my fucking money. But, I wasn't on YouTube at the time. I wasn't on YouTube. I wasn't listening to any level up information. This is just my natural response to a guy who's doing that. Is just send me money. Like that's the solution to the problem is to send me money. Send me money for my time, send me money for my gas, and send me money for my food. And then I'll talk to you. And he didn't do it, blah, blah, blah. He's still contacting me. And I'm like, well, I don't know what you want. What do you want? Because in order for me to see you, you have to do something monumental. And he's like, well, instead of lunch, I'll take you to dinner. Or like a five-star hotel and pay for everything. Like you need to come to me with the best that you have to offer because I'm not accepting dinner and abuse. I think that that's just asking a bit gonna do it. This is what it would take for you to have my time. Period. Okay, I'm glad I'm back. Yeah, that's what it would take for you to have my time. You need to come better. I'm not gonna have dinner with you. No way. You need to send me money and you need to do something amazing to make up for my time that you wasted. And that will just give you a conversation with me that doesn't guarantee you anything. And he didn't do it. So I just moved on to something else. And this is how you protect yourself from dust. When you have standards and you don't argue with guys back and forth about what you're going to do and what you're not going to do, and you don't, you know, entrench yourself in dust and dusty logic, you can't be affected by a dusty. You can't. Just ask him for money and he will run away. Just ask him for something very small. It can even be something small, like, oh, can you take care of my phone bill? Can you put some gas in my car, or I need an oil change? They will just run away. So that's probably the best way to stay safe is to ask for stuff. Don't be this person who tries to prove themselves by asking nothing of a male. Like that's the biggest con. That's the biggest con that Black women are taught, that you need to prove yourself by requiring nothing. That is a fast track way of getting entangled with the dust, a dusty and being a dusty situation. No, you need to ask for something as soon as possible, as soon as it makes sense. It all like when you're a feminine woman, there's always an opportunity to invest. There's always an opportunity to invest. It can be anything. And a man is going to respond and he's going to start investing. He's going to try to make your life easier, more comfortable. He's going to try to impress you, you know? And so that's how you know, even if it's just a nice first dinner, he's going to make reservations. Okay, so let me tell you about the guy that I went out with the second night or the third night. Let me tell you how he won points with me. He made us reservation. Okay, so the first place that we were going to didn't accept reservations because it was a new, and they just didn't know reservations because it was new. They said no, first come, first serve. He was like, well, it's so new. They've only been open less than a week. I don't know how it's going to be, but I think you'll like it. I don't know. But he made backup reservations at another place that was nice. He's like, if this doesn't work, I will take you somewhere better. Now, that's a man. So how can a Dusty compete with that? A Dusty who's going to tell you that he wants to take you to Chili's or to the chicken wing place or to wherever, or they want you to meet them at Starbucks. I have a man who's made reservations at two, like who's made arrangements at two different places. For me, why would I ever in my wildest dreams meet your dusty ass at Starbucks? And Dusties can be rich or poor. If he has money and he's not giving it to you, he may as well be dusty. I can't stand rich, stingy men. I loathe them. So if I have a man making me reservations, whisking me through the city in Maseratis and taking me to nice lounges, why on God's green earth would I ever meet you at Starbucks? Why? It doesn't make any sense. I don't do that. It's just simple and plain. I just don't do it. I just don't do coffee dates. It's never going to happen. Now we're in a relationship and we're like, now I've told y'all about my guys who've like Ubered me coffee. Who I don't even have to lift the finger. I don't even have to go to the Starbucks. They're like, "Oh, what do you want? I'll order it for you right now." So, like, yeah, we're in a relationship and we're kicking it and you've spent a lot of money on me and you're paying bills and stuff. Yeah, we can go grab coffee. We can go to the museum. That's fine. But in the beginning of a relationship, I need to understand and I need to experience what are you trying to do to impress me? And that's what I need to experience. And Starbucks is not impressive. That's something that you do with your friends, or you do it alone, or you do it well into a relationship and you guys just have a rapport and y'all are on your way to the mall so he can take you shopping, then sure, you drop by the Starbucks, you get your stuff and you go on and move to the next thing. One guy was getting my car repaired and we stopped by Starbucks through the drive-through. Yeah, that's fine because you're spending money on my car. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's fine. We can go by. I'm not like opposed to a coffee shop. I'm just saying it's not appropriate in for me. For me, I cannot speak for everyone. Just for me, it's not appropriate for a first date. It's not, you know. So, so that was my trip. One guy that I'm talking to, the one that I ended up going on 3 dates with, I can't really figure this guy out. I really can't. I don't know what this guy wants. I get the feeling that he wants to be chased and pursued, and that's not going to work for me. So, as difficult as it may be, I may just have to leave it be. I may have to chase him, and if he won't pursue me, then that means that we don't get to spend time together. That means that we don't get to go to the next level because no one's moving. No one's making a move. So the guy that we went to the lounge with, I think he messaged me today. I don't know. He's just talking about little nonsense, stupid shit that I don't care about. Like, oh, I had a hot dog today. Okay, I don't give a shit. You had a hot dog. What does that have to do with me? I don't care. Honey, are you going to send me something? Are you going to, like, those are the things that I respond to. But I don't want small talk about what you had for lunch. I don't. Like, I don't care. Not your girlfriend, you know? Your girlfriend will sit and listen to boring ass recaps of what you ate for lunch, but I'm not your girlfriend and you haven't given me any money and I just don't see the point of talking to you about that. So if you want an independent woman, you need to go find her. I'm not her. I'm very dependent. I'm dependent on my man and my men in plural, and I'll be dependent on plural until there is a singular who can do everything that the rest of them are doing plus extra. So that's just what it is. So I haven't responded to him. I really don't have anything to say. I think he was like, "Oh, I could go out there," but again, like you want to what I mean, you'd have to take the initiative. Like, I want to come out there and visit you. You'd have to really make it very plain and you'd have to be very straightforward. You'd have to like be very manly about what your intentions are. I don't respond at all to coy, demure men. How are we both going to be coy and demure in the relationship? Somebody has to step up and be masculine, and it's not going to be me. I will respond and reciprocate, but I cannot initiate. I won't do it. So that's in a holding pattern. We'll see. I have a whole lot of connections that I need to kind of like go through. I did unmatch a lot of the riffraff and a lot of the non-responsive guys because I think that that's another way for you to help. For you ladies, this is a little tip for you. If you want to men who will invite you on really amazing dates, you need to focus on the men who have a lot of energy for you. You need to focus on the men who are responsive and they kind of have this like thirst for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, you don't want to engage those males who are very like one word answers. They're not really asking a lot of questions. They're not trying to impress you. They're not doing the most like, hey, like, what about this day? What about that day? What about this day? What you want to respond to the men who are offering up suggestions, right? Because some guys, if you throw yourself onto them, like you make the plans, you decide, hey, let's do this, or hey, let's go here, let's do this, and you initiate it. Some guys will say okay because they feel like, well, she's the one who wants it, so maybe I'll get laid because she's into me more than I'm into her. Or, yeah, whatever. I didn't really want it, but if she'll give it to me, I'll take it. That's the type of guy that you want to avoid. You want to try to steer towards the men who are kind of thirsting for you. You know, the ones who are doting on you, bombarding you with compliments, um, being chatty, being, taking initiative. That's going to help you avoid dust. That's going to help you avoid heartbreak. That's going to help you avoid, crappy situations. And it will help you get on some amazing dates because maybe we need to do a poll and see like who's wanting to date, who's not having the dates that they want. Because I want to focus on you ladies. Because some of you ladies are dating and having good dates, and some of you are initiating relationships at some form, like earlier or like kind of maturing relationships. But I'm really interested in hearing from the ladies who want to date who are not getting the dates that they desire because we need to shake it up and we need to tweak some things for you ladies so that you can start getting some dates, some good dates, and starting to interface with good potential men. Um, I love Mocha Mommy. Mocha Mommy says, pick a guy in the driver's seat, not just a passenger. Yes. Y'all, and if y'all haven't, y'all might have come here after Mocha Mommy's live, but If you haven't checked out her live, it is golden. She did a live about navigating workplace situations as emerging professionals. And so it was a lot of great things. I know I picked up some tips that I can use in my everyday life. She always has a lot of practical advice. So definitely check out Mocha Mommy's channel and check out her latest lives. You won't regret it. You will thank yourself. But yeah, you want to kind of respond to those men who are thirsting after you, who are hounding you, who are, you know, taking initiative to offer up different ideas. Now, some guys, especially when you're dealing with like nerdy guys, engineering guys, water, you might have to say things like, well, I would be open, to dinner on this day. I would be open to that. And so that should cue him to ask you out. It should. When you give him everything that he needs to succeed. He has the date, he has the time, and he knows that if he asks, you will say yes. So sometimes with the more socially awkward guys, you kind of have to, you know, give them the tools that they need to succeed. But at the end of the day, they are the ones that have to ask you out. That's how you avoid getting ghosted. That's how you avoid 50-50. That's how you avoid split the check, going Dutch, because he's inviting you and you always want to make it very explicit that this is a date. We're not hanging out. We are not friends. We are not buddies. Okay. So let me tell you how to avoid guys talking about, I want to be your friend. Okay. Because some guys will do that in hopes that they don't have to spend any money on you. Oh, I just want to be friends and see where it goes. They're lying. That's not true. They're just being weird, and they're being like they want to hang out with you so they don't have to take you on nice dates. So this is what you say. If they're like, "Oh, I just want to be friends. I want to hang. I want a good friend, and I just want to see where it goes." And I'm like, "Oh, you want a friend? Okay, I'm sorry. Because I was on the dating app, so I was actually looking for dating. Are you not looking for dating?" And then they're like, "Oh no, no, I want something more, than friends. But I'm just saying, we're friends. We got to start as friends first." And I was like, then you have to be like, okay, well, I mean, I could put you in the friend zone, but is that really where you want to be? Oh no, I don't want to be in the friend zone. No, I want more. Okay, well then, dating is something that I'm looking for. A gentleman to take me on a date, a dating relationship to see where it goes. That's how you can dead that whole friend thing, that whole hangout thing. You can get that eliminated immediately. Don't even start off with that because it's going to be dusty. Don't even start off with that because they need to understand that they're courting you, they're dating you. Whether it's courting for marriage or relationship or just trying to impress you on dates, you have to keep that energy in the air that you are a man and you need to come and show me the best that you have to offer. That's what you need to be doing. And so you want to have that energy from the gate. Don't let them bait you into the, oh, we're friends, we're hanging out, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. No, I'm not your buddy. I'm a woman. Like and I don't pay bills. I don't know, maybe I should do a whole separate live, but I started to tell y'all how I pick out clothes now. But basically how I pick out clothes is I'm like, I look at the dress and I'm like, does this dress look like somebody that like pays bills, or does this look like someone who like lives luxuriously and they don't have to pay bills? And if the answer is the latter, like, oh, this looks like a woman that don't pay bills, then I know that the dress will work for me. It's really that simple. That's my logic. If pay bills, the answer is no. If pay no bills, then I'll buy it. So lots of floral prints, lots of cute things, lots of frills and ruffles. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I'm gravitating towards these days. And I get a lot of compliments on some of my, more recent dress attire and dresses that I picked out. So yeah, always just start the energy where you need it to be, to keep things on the up and up. And that is how I was able to have a nice date every single day of my trip. And you can too, Black woman. And that's what I want to see. I want to see you ladies having a fulfilled dating life, especially if you've been in Dustville. You know, if you've spent any time in Dustville, you deserve it. B says, I'll tune in because my work sometimes try to get the best of me. Yeah. Yeah, don't let your work get the best of you. Don't let your work get the best of you. Hey, more K, more MK. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, dark skinned gentlewoman. Hey, everybody that's in the chat. Y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. Do y'all have any questions, comments, concerns before I hey Kamaya, before I bid you farewell? Let me know. Dun, dun, dun. I'm gonna probably heat up a pizza for this little one because today's Friday. So if I do pizza any day, it's gonna be a Friday or a Saturday. We've got two different sports. We've got two different sports going on. But so I don't know. We'll see. I'm just trying to try a lot of different sports while she's little to see what she wants to gravitate towards. Because I was like, I looked in the volleyball club. We have a private volleyball club around here, and it's like a whole mortgage. Like the monthly dues is a mortgage. And I'm like, damn, these girls better go to the Olympics with no joke. So I'm like, I want to do all the recreational teams before I commit to spending money on a club. Where do I shop? Hi, thank you for asking. I, I shop at Off Saks. So Saks Fifth Avenue, and you can get some really great deals, like amazing deals at Off Saks. Amazing deals there. And you can either, if you have a Bloomingdale's outlet in your area, you could go there or you could go online. Just do Bloomingdale's outlet. Now, when you go online, it's going to take you to Bloomingdale sales slash clearance. So it's basically like they don't have a separate website for Bloomingdale's outlet, but it's pretty much the same stuff that's in Bloomingdale's outlet. And then the other place I shop is Nordstrom Rack. So Nordstrom Rack has its own separate website from Nordstrom, but you can get some really great stuff there for a really great price. And then also Lord and Taylor clearance as well. Because I have to do everything on a budget. But what I realized was that if you go to Bloomingdale's outlet or off Saks Fifth and spend, you know, 50 to 100 bucks on a dress or a top or something like that, it's pretty much the same price as fast fashion. You maybe spend a little bit more, but the quality is a lot better than going to do the fast fashion. So I'm kind of trying to focus on those stores. And I've gotten like the last time I went to Nordstrom Rack, I got a lot of great deals on cute dresses. And like one of the dresses I wore on my trip, and I got a compliment. I don't know, like some of my dresses, um, I get a lot of compliments from like white ladies. of knowing what kind of buys you extra attention or buys you a compliment, or garners you a compliment rather, it helps. It's just a little bit of zhuzhing, whatever you can do to kind of, ease your way into different circles and having different conversations and whatnot. So, yeah, I kind of, working with a lot of florals and ruffles, and those tend to do good on me. Um, but yeah, those are the places that I shop. And then $20, you can get them for $5. Um, all types of creams and serums and nail stuff for your nails and brushes. Some of those makeup brushes can be pretty expensive, but you can go to the Marshalls beauty section and get some really good deals. And a nice dress or a nice outfit at Marshalls as well. So sometimes TJ Maxx is a hit or miss. Four places is Nordstrom Rack's, Off Saks, Bloomingdale's Outlet, and Lord and Taylor clearance. Oh, my sound is on the fritz. I'm sorry. All right, y'all. Well, I'm gonna take my sound being off as a reason to sign off. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, that's John um, Instagram, or in, if you would like to join our board, send me a link, because the Discord is private, and I can send you the link for you to join the Discord. All right, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe. Peace and love.